you are just tuning in, we are in the midst of an MSNBC special tonight about President Obama's face-to-face question and answer session this afternoon with Republicans from the House of Representatives at their retreat in Baltimore. It was a confrontation between the chief executive and a caucus which has almost unanimously opposed his key legislation on economic stimulus, the budget, and health reform. Chris Matthews, Keith Olbermann, and I are here to help re-witness the riveting 82-minute back and forth, which saw an American president, for, we think, the first time, field questions from his opposition live on television. We learned this afternoon that it was the administration who pressed for the session to be televised. It was the Republicans who initially resisted that, but then relented. And after it was over, we know it was the Republicans who regretted that decision. NBC's Luke Russert reporting today from the scene.
I do believe one Republican said to me off the record and saying behind closed doors, it was a mistake that we allowed the cameras to roll like that. We should not have done that.
In terms of the political impact of today's events, as Keith mentioned last hour, consider this metric. During the most dramatic political dialogue since at least the presidential debates of 2008, the Fox News channel decided to break away from its coverage today to bring on critics of the president instead. So far tonight, we've watched the president's exchanges with Congressman Mike Pence of Indiana, Paul Ryan of Wisconsin, and Jason Chaffetz of Utah. Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee has been in the news this week already for bailing out of her planned address to the National Tea Party convention in Nashville. Ms. Blackburn backed out along with Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann over ethics concerns because the National Tea Party convention is a for-profit event. Her question to the president started with Republican ideas on health reform. His answer addressed that and a lot more besides.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for acknowledging that we have ideas on health care, because indeed we do have ideas, we have plans, we have over 50 bills, we have lots of amendments that would bring health care ideas to the forefront. We've got plans to lower costs, to change purchasing models, address medical liability, insurance accountability, chronic and pre-existing conditions, and access to affordable care for those with those conditions. Insurance portability, expanded access, but not doing it with creating more government, more bureaucracy, and more cost for the American taxpayer. And we look forward to sharing those ideas with you. We want to work with you on health reform and making certain that we do it in an affordable, cost-effective way that is going to reduce bureaucracy, reduce government interference, and reduce costs to individuals and to taxpayers. And if those good ideas aren't making it to you, maybe it's the House Democrat leadership that is an impediment instead of a conduit. Right. But we're concerned also that there are some lessons learned from public option health care plans that maybe are not being heeded. And certainly in my state of Tennessee, we were the test case for public option health care in 1994. And our Democrat government has even cautioned that maybe our experiences there would provide some lessons learned that should be heeded and would provide guidance for us to go forward. And as you said, what we should be doing is tossing old ideas out, bad ideas out, and moving forward and refining good ideas. And certainly we would welcome that opportunity. So my question to you is, when will we look forward to starting anew and sitting down with you to put all of these ideas on the table, to look at these lessons learned, to benefit from that experience, and to produce a product that is going to reduce government interference, reduce costs, and be fair to the American taxpayer?
Actually, I've gotten many of your ideas. I've taken a look at them, even before I was handed this. Some of the ideas we have embraced and are in our package. Some of them are embraced with caveats. It's not that many of these ideas aren't workable. but we have to refine them to make sure that they don't just end up worsening the situation for folks rather than making it better. Now, what I said at the State of the Union is what I still believe. If you can show me, and if I get confirmation from healthcare experts, people who know the system and how it works, including doctors and nurses, ways of reducing people's premiums, covering those who do not have insurance, making it more affordable for small businesses, having insurance reforms that ensure people have insurance even when they've got pre-existing conditions, that their coverage is not dropped just because they're sick, that young people right out of college or as they're entering in the workforce can still get health insurance. If those component parts are things that you care about and want to do, I'm game. At its core, if you look at the basic proposal that we put forward, that has an exchange so that businesses and the self-employed can buy into a pool and can get bargaining power the same way big companies do, the insurance reforms that I've already discussed, making sure that there's choice and competition for those who don't have health insurance. The component parts of this thing are pretty similar to what Howard Baker, Bob Dole, and Tom Daschle proposed at the beginning of this debate last year. Now, you may not agree with Bob Dole and Howard Baker, and Tom, certainly you don't agree with Tom Daschle on much, but that's not a radical bunch. But if you were to listen to the debate, and frankly how some of you went after this bill, you'd think that this thing was some Bolshevik plot. No, I mean that's how you guys presented it. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, how is it that a plan that is pretty centrist? No, look, I mean, I'm just saying, I know you guys disagree, but if you look at the facts of this bill, most independent observers would say this is actually what many Republicans, it is similar to what many Republicans proposed to Bill Clinton when he was doing his debate on health care. So all I'm saying is we've got to close the gap a little bit between the rhetoric and the reality. I'm not suggesting that we're going to agree on everything, whether it's on health care or energy or what have you. But if the way these issues are being presented by the Republicans is that this is some wild-eyed plot to impose huge government in every aspect of our lives, what happens is you guys then don't have a lot of room to negotiate with me. I mean, the fact of the matter is that many of you, if you voted with the administration on something, are politically vulnerable in your own base, in your own party. You've given yourselves very little room to work in a bipartisan fashion because what you've been telling your constituents is this guy's doing all kinds of crazy stuff that's going to destroy America. And I would just say that we have to think about tone. It's not just on your side, by the way. It's on our side as well. This is part of what's happened in our politics, where we demonize the other side so much that when it comes to actually getting things done, it becomes tough to do.
Chris Matthews in Washington, you hear the president describe his health care plan as being derided as a Bolshevik plot. He says that it's not some wild-eyed plot to impose huge government in every aspect of our lives. What's he getting at there with those House Republicans?
Well, I think I'd like to close the gap between rhetoric and reality just for a second here, and that is that Marsha Blackburn, with that list of particulars she offered, never mentioned the fact that the Republicans controlled both houses of Congress and the presidency for many years, in fact, most of the last decade. During none of that time did they ever move those bills. Did they ever try any of those things? This is the great hypocrisy of the Republican Party. They do nothing in terms of extending health care to the millions of people uninsured, and every time the Democrats try to do it, whether it's Harry Truman or it's Bill Clinton or it's President Obama, they have all these criticisms, and then they say, why didn't you take the Republican approach? They never offer the Republican approach when they have the power. That's the great hypocrisy of Marsha Blackburn. She's been in the Congress now for 8 years now. This is what's her fourth or fifth term. How come she didn't offer these many offerings that she had there in that list of hers, which I found rather pushy, really, because what is she offering things that she could have passed with the Republicans when they were in power? It's so hypocritical.
Keith, when you hear the president pivot from addressing those individual ideas, saying, hey, yeah, you know, we did actually include a lot of centrist and Republican ideas in what we did, but then he's the one, he takes the initiative to pivot to the tone, to the problems with Republicans and their base. Why does he do that?
This would be my great fear into getting into an argument with this man about almost any topic, because he just, as you say, the pivot is almost invisible.